Bitter cold and blinding snow.
Whipping wind and freezing rain.
Oh, winter and everything that comes with it is heading our way.
If you don't have four-wheel drive, you're in trouble in the winter.
But what does this year have in store?
Well, our goal is to get you prepared for the upcoming winter. A little bit later on, I'll attempt to answer the most popular question we get on the street, in the grocery stores, and online. How cold and snowy will this winter be?
But before we get there, we will get you prepared in your homes, your cars, and in your minds. For those who own or are considering purchasing an electric vehicle, Brianna Pitts talks with an expert who tells us what you need to know before hitting the roads.
I hear it all the time. Winters were so much worse back in the day. Coming up in just a few minutes, I look at the data and I talk to a brain researcher who says our memories may actually be changing.
Well, speaking of winter memories, I chatted with Jim Cantori of the Weather Channel about some of his most memorable times in Massachusetts. And we'll take a few moments getting to know Lexi O'Connor, a New England native and the newest member of our weather team. You were on WBZ long before these last couple of months.
And just because it's winter doesn't mean you have to stop gardening. Dave Epstein tells us how we can move the garden indoors.
Even something like a semi-hardy hydrangea can be put in a garage all winter.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Eric Fisher, and welcome to our WBZ Winter Weather Special.
And I'm meteorologist Sarah Robleski. The winter months may be the hardest here we face in New England.
It definitely can be. The WBZ weather team is here to help guide you through whatever comes our way. And one of the biggest concerns this season is the skyrocketing cost of energy.
Yeah, but as I found out, there are ways to save and things you can do right now to prepare your home.
Winter is coming, and while typically snow gets all the headlines, this year, it's the rising cost of energy that's on everyone's mind.
What could be some great energy saving tips in here?
Well, one of the first things somebody can do during the winter months is to make sure on bright sunny days like today, the blinds are up, curtains are open, let the sun help heat your home, and that way your heating system is not recycling all day. The sun's warming it all day long, and then at night, conversely, lower the blinds, close the drapes, keep whatever warmth you have in the house. Some of the bulbs, we can move them to LEDs.
Great.
LEDs use 90% less energy than the regular old incandescent bulbs.
You can also reduce costs by making sure your heating vents are clear and changing filters every month. Bill Stacks from Eversource mentions be aware of items in your house not in use but still plugged in, like TVs and game consoles, producing what's called phantom power.
10 to 15% of your electric bill is phantom power. Wow. And that's why we recommend using these power cost savers. You can utilize 2 or 3 of these slots to have items constantly on, like your cable box. Okay. And then you have others that will automatically shut off when they're not in use. We have a Mass Save marketplace where you can go online and purchase these, and they're automatically discounted.
Another cost-saving tool to help homeowners.
There's a number of items on there that already have rebates attached to them.
Like programmable thermostats, which can be the best way to control heating costs this winter.
If you have those old dial thermostats, move to a programmable thermostat where you can program it to turn it down while you're asleep or away from home. Even better yet is a smart thermostat where you can control it remotely if you want to.
So now we're in the kitchen. What are some tips in here to save money this winter season?
Well, the best thing about this kitchen is that all the appliances are Energy Star level. They're doing exactly what we recommend people to do. They're high efficient. They work, so they cost you less to run. And the best products on the market as well.
Lastly, one of the biggest ways to put money back in your pocket is to add insulation.
A home that's not properly insulated is like leaving a window open all year round. We strongly recommend that you have a home energy assessment, talk to one of our experts to see just how much insulation you need.
We have a link to the Mass Save Marketplace on our website, cbsboston.com. And it's important to have a checklist of ways to stay safe and winterize your home.
Well, the CDC recommends the following: caulk along windows and install weather stripping on doors. Insulate water lines that run along exterior walls. Have heating systems serviced to make sure it's clean and working properly. And check on smoke and carbon monoxide detectors before the season.
People aren't just looking for ways to save at home this winter, they're also looking to save money behind the wheel.
Yeah, we've seen record-breaking gas prices at times this year, and making the switch to an electric vehicle seems more and more appealing. But we wanted to know how they hold up in our New England winters. So we sent WBZ's Brianna Pitts to find out.
Here in New New England, we're used to weathering some tough storms, and we can be just as tough behind the wheel. But does our ability to commute in the cold change if you swap your gas tank for a lithium-ion battery?
When you're driving a gas-powered vehicle, you don't have to worry about losing range because it's like 20 below zero. It's not quite that cold here, but some days it feels like it.
We met up with Kathleen Connors, president of Voltrek, a Lawrence-based company that installs thousands of electric vehicle charging stations around New England.
So then it releases.
Connors has been driving EVs for more than a decade, 2 volts, a Bolt, and a Tesla. So she knows a thing or two about how they perform in the winter. She says the #1 thing drivers need to worry about is range.
So the colder it is, the more range you're going to lose. It depends on the vehicle. We've seen as much as 20% reduction. It literally depends on the temperature out that day.
Research by AAA found an EV's driving range can drop up to 41% when it's 20 degrees and the car's heat is on full blast. Connor says newer models with larger batteries tend to do better in the cold, so keep that in mind if buying used. But she says there is an easy solution no matter what make and model you drive.
Plug the vehicle in overnight. If you plug it in, it's actually conditioning the vehicle batteries. You don't have to leave it like an ice box in there, but it's more efficient if you use the heated seats and if you have a heated steering wheel and just, don't blast the hot air the whole time.
And unlike a gas-powered vehicle that loses fuel while sitting in traffic, EVs actually gain range the slower they go. Connor says turning up the car's regenerative braking will help too.
If you set the regenerative braking higher, it'll generate more miles for you in the winter. You're going to lose the range, but you're not losing any power from it. It's the same.
So you're getting through the snow?
Oh yeah, not a problem. And there's a lot of these vehicles are, 4-wheel drive. So this is 4-wheel drive vehicle. So it's not a problem in the snow at all. And it is very heavy from the battery weight, so I feel like that stabilizes the vehicle more.
And to make going electric more affordable, the state is offering rebates, like $3,500 for a newer used EV, an extra $1,000 if trading in a combustion engine, and an extra $1,500 for low-income residents. Connor says you can also charge your EV at home with a simple wall plug. It costs her about an extra $60 to $70 a month on her electric bill. And there's lots of resources and apps to help you find charging stations. ChargePoint, PlugShare, and Tesla all have apps that can help you find a charging station just like this one. Brianna Pitts, WBZ News.
No matter what kind of vehicle you have, road conditions can get bad quickly and drivers need to be ready.
The CDC recommends checking the tread on your tires. Keep the gas tank as full as possible to avoid ice in the tank and fuel lines. Use wintertime formulas and windshield washer fluid, and have an emergency kit, including portable phone charger, extra batteries, extra clothing, booster cables, flares, a bag of sand, and a flashlight.
With that list, you will definitely be ready. No question. Now, big weather events like the ones that often happen during the winter, they can leave their mark.
But were the storms of our past really worse than more recent ones? WBZ's Jacob Wyckoff did a little digging into the psychology of snow.
Blizzard of 78.
Oh,
all right. What do you remember about the blizzard of 78?
Shoveling. The snow was up to my thighs and I was shoveling.
It seems like everyone has a memory of a winter storm.
Trying to dig the cars out, trying to find a place to park it.
Yep.
And literally the street and the sidewalks and the corners. Snow was up to the hips.
Reminiscing about New England winters past, a badge of honor, a story of survival, with its wounds as salty as the sidewalks, no matter how much time has passed.
My memory of winter was snow all winter long. So we never saw the grass.
But does our memory of those storms change over time?
First of all, that our memories aren't as accurate as we might think that they are.
Elizabeth Kensinger is a professor of psychology and neuroscience at Boston College. She says the back in the day weather was worse thoughts may be part of a common theme for memories.
Remembering a past that unfolded differently than it actually did is more normal than unusual. And I think this direction of error, where we think that something in the past was harder for us and we overcame something, is actually a very typical way in which our memories are distorted.
She says memories aren't so much a snapshot of the past, but rather a glimpse into the future.
What's the usefulness of knowing exactly what happened in the past? It's not all that helpful unless it actually helps us understand this moment and prepare for the next moment. The weathers were so bad back then and we got through these blizzards, and so of course we're ready for whatever is coming next.
How does the media's coverage of winter storms play into how people put that memory into their brain?
Notice the snow, notice the rain, the wind, and the coastal impacts will all be felt with this system.
I think there's a really interesting possibility that the better the media coverage, especially for an upcoming storm, the less memorable that storm is going to be. So I think it creates the interesting possibility that we might have remembered storms from our childhood as being worse because perhaps they weren't being forecast as accurately.
If you're of a certain age, any snow in the forecast calls to mind the blizzard of '78.
No doubt about it, we'll long remember this record-breaking storm, which has literally paralyzed New England. But
Kensinger says, even though we've had numerous storms that surpass the impacts of the blizzard of '78, like the April Fool's Day storm, the President's Day blizzard,
plenty of snow falling out in Worcester,
or Winter Storm Nemo, 78's storm sticks out so vividly because it greatly exceeded the general public's expectation.
The blizzard of '78, though, came to stay, and
So it is those moments in life that totally throw you the curveball and you don't know what's coming. Those are really the moments that tend to often stick with us the longest.
So it's very possible that the more accurate we are as a meteorology team, the less memorable the storms actually are for our viewing audience.
I think that's exactly right, yeah.
Wow, okay.
So even if that memory of walking to school uphill both ways in snow up to your waist may not be exactly how it happened,
our memories are what are our identity, right? It's really what gives us our sense of who we are in this world. It influences in really extreme ways how we interact with other people, how we make sense of the present moment, how we think about our future.
On the campus of Boston College, meteorologist Jacob Wyckoff, WBZ News.
An interesting theory. The better the forecast, perhaps the less memorable the snowstorm. We'll see.
I hope no one has a memory of this winter, if that's the case. One thing that definitely sticks in our minds during big winter storms, that's thunder snow. And who loves it more than the Weather Channel's Jim Cantori? I sat down with a longtime storm tracker to ask him about his favorite storms here in the Boston area and what makes our winters unique. Well, an old friend and someone known to anyone who is a big fan of weather joining us, Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel, their one and only storm tracker. And Jim, I know you're getting pumped up for the upcoming season here. I see the tree behind you already. You got to be ready for some winter storms.
Yeah, as long as I don't have to cover anything else tropically. Okay, I'm kind of done with that, to be honest with you. So, I mean, to go back and forth between the mid-October cold blast into a tropical system and then back to winter again, enough. Let's just keep it at one season, Eric. They're hard enough, as you know.
So I got to ask you then, because when you come to town, everyone gets a little bit more riled up than usual for whatever is coming our way. What's the cutoff? What is the storm that says this brings Cantori to town or this does not bring Cantori to town?
When I go into my boss's office and say, I'm going, I got to go. You know, obviously, if there's any kind of a chance for convective snow, which you know what I'm talking about, Eric, thunder snow, I'm definitely going.
Whoa! Was that lightning? We just had a thunder snow. We just had a lightning strike and thunder here in Worcester.
And it's interesting because nowadays, I don't even care if somebody gets 20 inches and the other place gets 6 inches. If the 6-inch area gets thunder and they have a better chance at that, that's where I'm going.
So that's the itch that you got to scratch every winter. You got to find where the lightning is.
Exactly.
So some people might not know. I mean, the first moment that you encountered thunder snow on camera was here in Massachusetts.
It was. It was Worcester, Mass, actually, in '95. Believe it or not, I don't know. You might have been born then. I can't remember. But anyway, I mean, yeah, it was '95, and I had 2 bouts in Chicago, 1 in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and of course the big one, the grand finale to the date is Plymouth, Massachusetts, which was just incredible.
Yes! Listen to that! Listen to that! Oh, baby! Oh, again! That's a twofer! That's a twofer, baby!
I mean, literally 6 flashes during my live shot. And of course, the key to that, Eric, you got to get it at night. You got to get it before the sun comes up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, that's when it really illuminates everything.
So do you have a feeling, is thunder snow on the increase? Do you feel like this was a rare, like you'd hear about it once a winter kind of thing 20, 30 years ago, and now it seems like a lot of our storms have it?
Yeah, you know what? I think that since we kind of made it out, we put it out there, people, if there's an event regardless of where it is. It could be the Rockies, it could be the Sierra, it could be the plains, even freezing rain and sleet with thunder and lightning. There's all sorts of tweets that come in. Hey, Jim, I just got thunder snow, or I got thunder sleet, thunder freezing rain. So it's one of those phenomena. I was like, you know what? Maybe that isn't that rare. Maybe it happens more than we think. So I think, if anything, it's kind of given us meteorologically a little bit of affirmation that actually this does happen quite a bit.
I know the Plymouth Day was big for you. That was the granddaddy of the thunder snow events. Is there a different storm? Is there another event, something that really sticks out in your mind, somewhere in the Boston area that you'll always remember in your storm tracking?
Oh, man. I mean, obviously the blizzard of '78 was incredible, but I wasn't in it. See, but that's the one that kind of brought me into the game. Being in Vermont, it gave us so much snow that, I felt like I was in a snow cave for weeks, because once they plowed the roads and got them cleared, as a 14-year-old kid, I looked up and around me, and I'm just like, oh my God, there's just snow everywhere. So, that was just my real, I think that's what just affirmed my love with snow. But gosh, there's that winter, that 2014, 2015 winter, which was, just unbelievable with the 110 inches. It was just one right after the other. And I think what really made that stand out is the fact that you had such a light, fluffy snow. It wasn't like the typical heavy wet snow. It was a very light, fluffy snow, because each event was followed by a cold Arctic blast.
Yeah, absolutely. The cold was really unbelievable during that stretch. And, for me, fairly young career still, I suppose, but that's the season that sticks out for me as well.
Yeah.
All right, Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel sharing some of those winter memories with us here. Jim, I'm sure we'll stir up at least one or two storms worthy of a trip to Boston for you in the upcoming season.
I was going to end this with I'll see you soon, and hopefully spend a little bit of time with you, buddy, in the North End.
Oh, that's a date. I'd love to see you there, man. All right, great talking to you, and
all right,
we'll be
always
thinking
a pleasure,
snow.
buddy. Take care.
You too. Well, preparing your home is not the only way to lower costs on home heating bills this winter.
Up next, we'll explain how there are ways to save on your electric bill by going green.
Home heating costs will have many of us seeing red instead of white this winter.
But there is a way to save on your bill for many communities, but especially for people living in Boston.
Winter brings early sunsets, colder weather, and more times indoors, and inevitably higher electric bills.
Knowing how to conserve energy in your home, like turning off a light switch when you're not there, can help you save money. But knowing where your energy is coming from can help you save big bucks in your bill.
So you could be the greenest person on your block and still be paying less than your neighbor if they were on Eversource.
Reverend Mariana White-Hammond is talking about a program designed to get more people using renewable energy, all while putting money back into your pocket.
Boston Community Choice Energy is a program that we've created to make sure that every Boston resident has access to cleaner, affordable energy.
She says there's no catch. It's your choice to select the type of energy you want for a discounted flat rate, most lower than the current basic price of Eversource.
Now, if you're on basic Eversource in Boston, you're paying 18 cents a kilowatt hour. That's what you're paying right now. We expect that to rise significantly by January 1st because, unfortunately, all energy prices are rising significantly. However, on the Boston standard, which is 30% renewable energy, you would be paying 11 cents a kilowatt hour.
This fixed rate would continue through December 2023, despite the expected rising cost for utilities this winter.
I think there is a good chance that the Eversource rate will end up being double ours.
So it's a win-win. You save a significant amount of money each month in your electric bill, and you're taking steps to combat climate change.
When you buy into community choice energy, you also allow the energy markets to spend more on more renewable energy. This money that we put in allows new solar farms to be created. It allows new wind turbines to be sited. It allows us to grow the supply of good, affordable, clean energy.
And there are so many other communities besides Boston that offer similar programs. I visited my own city's website and was able to quickly sign up and reduce my rate by nearly half. expecting big changes in my bill this winter. The leaves have fallen and the harvest has long gone. So where does that leave those still longing for the growing season? As meteorologist Dave Epstein shows us, the winter months don't have to mean the garden goes away.
With December, January, and February, the 3 coldest months of the year on tap, there's a lot you can still think about in terms of gardening. If you're someone that wants to grow something inside, something as simple as a little pot of parsley can add a little bit of fresh greens to a salad or any dish. But you can also do things outside as well. I love to prune and use some of these greens perhaps in a holiday decoration. If you can get the winterberry before the birds, it also makes a nice holiday decoration. Plants that are marginally hardy, say zones 8 and 9, if you have an unheated garage, they'll be fine in there through the colder months. Just be sure to move them back outside in March when things warm up. Even something like a semi-hardy hydrangea can be put in a garage all winter and it'll be very well protected. If you're someone who has a Christmas tree, check the water. Be sure it's taking up the water. That'll help keep it lasting a lot longer and keep it away from any sources of heat. The best place for one of the Christmas trees is actually a cooler part of your house with really no sunlight and no heating vents. In terms of houseplants, I like to check them every few weeks for bugs. If you do find some bugs on your houseplants, you can bring them outside on a day which is above freezing and spray them with a little bit of horticultural oil. That should smother most of the insects. Humidity trays where you can keep a little bit of water in the tray which will evaporate and keep your plants happy are wonderful. Or you can have a little terrarium like this, or something as simple as a dry cleaning bag can keep higher humidity on plants like ferns, which really do not like the dry air in our homes during the winter. If you don't have a lot of light in your house and plants require a lot of sunlight, a grow light is a great way to help keep your plants healthy all winter long.
A new face has joined the weather department at WBZ, Lexi O'Connor. She started just a few months ago and grew up in the town of Holden. We spent the day at one of her favorite places, Wachusett Mountain. And as I found out, this wasn't the first time she's been on WBZ News. A lot of times, at a TV station like WBZ, a face shows up. You're not sure where they're from. Have they always been here? Are they one of us? You're from right here, like right down the road.
I am born and raised in Holden, Massachusetts. Went to Wachusett High, went to school in Boston, so I'm from here. And it's great to be back. This is the mountain that I grew up skiing with my sister. We went to ski school here and took lessons. And then this is always the mountain we would always go to, and it was so convenient and so close to home, and it was always a blast, and I think it really made me appreciate the weather that we have, and even the colder months that I was never a fan of. I've learned to appreciate, with skiing and different outdoor winter activities, I've learned to appreciate and embrace the cold weather.
Memorable storm. What really sticks out?
I remember as a kid loving when, of course, we had no school because of a big snowstorm, naturally. And I loved still, even when the power went out, we had a few big ice storms growing up here, and as a kid, that was kind of fun. It was kind of fun going back in time during storms, and you light the candles, you play board games, and just kind of talk as a family. I think everyone kind of likes that sometimes.
I heard a rumor going around that you were on WBZ long before these last couple of months.
Tonight, Holden and state police are baffled over the disappearance of a grandmother and 2-year-old twin.
There's a lot of dense woods where I grew up, and my sister and I, back when we were 2 years old, we were blueberry picking with my grandmother at the time, and my mom had run out to do some errands, and we got lost in the woods.
Authorities have searched throughout most of this day without success.
We were lost overnight. We left sometime during the afternoon. My mom came home, noticed that our lunches weren't touched or anything, and she knew as a mom something was wrong. They didn't know where we were. This was before cell phones. And so called the police. It was a whole search party, and thankfully we were found, my poor parents, that long night without us.
2-year-old Cassandra and her twin sister Alexandra were safe in their parents' arms this morning. They were covered with mosquito bites and exhausted, but they were okay.
All night you're out in the woods as 2-year-olds.
Yeah, for over 12 hours.
Unbelievable.
A lot of people called us the blueberry twins because we were out picking blueberries, and that's what we had for our snack and our meal overnight. My dad after that built a swing set, and we stayed in the yard a little closer to home after that.
What are you looking forward to working with the team this winter?
It's just so special forecasting for a place I grew up. Even just driving around here, around Central Mass, like out past a playground that my sister and I would play at with my mom, and farm stands that we'd get pumpkins at. It's just, you know, a lot of things have changed, of course, over the years, but a lot of things are still the same, and that's just so special to come back home and to be forecasting for a place that has always been home. It's just so special.
It was great to spend some time out of the office with Lexi, catching up a little bit, and I'm sure you'll see her shushing down the slopes there at Wachusett very soon. Well, what does this winter have in store for New England? The big question. When we come back, an in-depth look into our winter weather forecast and how you can let us know how much snow you think we'll see in our annual WBZ Snowfall Contest. Well, it's the most wonderful time of the year. What's coming up next this winter? And we've all seen things all over the place on the internet. It's going to be frigid. Snow is going to come pile up dozens of feet. We'll be looking at the polar vortex. How's that spinning up this year? Well, we have our own way of looking at some of the factors that are going on across the world and how that might play into our upcoming season. Well, every year we start with what the El Niño Southern Oscillation is doing, or ENSO. And this year it's La Nina again. It's this little stripe of below average water temperatures near the equator. And this is the third year in a row, what we would call a triple dip. Is that kind of strange? Actually, it is. There've only been a couple during the modern era. And during both of those stretches, all three of those winters all had at or below average snowfall here in Boston. And we've been kind of doing the same thing. And while we're looking at the ocean, take a look at what's going on up here in the North Pacific and the North Atlantic. Much warmer than average water conditions. Does this look similar to something kind of recent? Actually, it does. In 2020, the oceans looked almost identical at this point of the season leading into the winter. And the cold up front might be a little jarring considering how we started November. Of course, all those 70s, an exceptionally warm start, much like in 2020. We hear that year again. And if you look at all the Novembers here that had warmer than average conditions in the top 13 or so, they all ended up with below average snowfall. And if you look at all the Novembers that had at least 4 days in the 70s, they too had at or below average snowfall. But let's go a little higher up, both in latitude and in altitude, tens of thousands of feet up to the polar vortex. So far this year, it's taken a few punches. It's been getting moved around, boxed around, and now it's pushing some cold down into the lower 48, pretty early in the season. Usually seasons that have this early on tend to recover and have a stronger polar vortex later in winter. If you're waiting and you start with a strong vortex, you get the opposite, and you tend to get more cold outbreaks toward the end of the season. Or are you sensing a little bit of a theme so far with this one and how things are looking coming together? Right now, it looks like, much like the last couple of years, we might see something that has at to below average snowfall in the Boston area. I don't think dramatically so, but maybe in that 30 to 40 inch range for the season. Meanwhile, how about temperatures? Well, in a warming climate, and especially winter, which is our fastest warming season, we start with warmer than average, and then we look for reasons that maybe that won't happen. And right now, there aren't any glaring reasons to say this looks like a major cold winter. That being said, I think we'll be a little bit warmer than average and not remarkably so like some other of those recent winters we've had. And in terms of that cold, I think we'll get the shots up front. La Niñas are notoriously fickle. They have big ups and downs with cold hits, but also warm-ups that lead to thaws. Your colder period probably up front with some of those warmer temperatures sneaking in the roller coaster ride of this coming winter during January and February.
Well, that was our forecast. Now we want to hear yours.
We're once again excited to announce the launch of our annual WBZ Snowfall Contest. You can simply go to cbsboston.com, tell us how much snow you think Boston's Logan Airport will receive this winter, and the viewer that comes closest to that actual total will win a season ski pass to Wachusett Mountain.
Good luck.
Well, our number one priority this winter is to keep you informed and prepared for what's next.
This is why we are now issuing Next Weather alerts ahead of our big weather events and storms.
The goal of Next Weather alerts is to give you advance warning of potentially impactful weather events. We want to give you enough time to prepare and stay safe. The purpose is not to hype or frighten anybody, but simply to reach out and keep you informed each step of the way.
Several days in advance of a storm, we'll let you know what we know and what we don't, give you scenarios based upon storm track, and discuss potential impacts. As the storm gets closer, we'll give you detailed analysis to help you prepare for whatever is coming.
Every winter, what really helps make our storm coverage on WBZ is all of our WBZ weather watchers. Your reports letting us know what's happening on the ground, measuring the snow and ice as it falls, and letting us relay it to our viewers at home across the area. We need you. We love to have you every year, and we look forward to more reports this season. And that's a wrap. Did we get your winter juices flowing? Our teams are ready to roll for another New England winter.
We hope you feel better prepared, but don't worry, we got your back.
Yeah. For Sarah, myself, and the entire WBZ weather team, thanks again for joining us. Think snow.